イプスウィッチ、レスター、サウサンプトンの昇格3クラブが今季すべて降格し、これはプレミアリーグ史上初の出来事となりました。プレミアリーグの最新情報を世界各国のメディアからいち早くお届けするプレミアリーグラボ、プレラボです。詳しく解説している番組がありましたので、そちらの翻訳をお届けいたします。それではご覧ください。ぜひチャンネル登録、高評価よろしくお願いします。
Well, following on from midweek, 5 Premier League games on the way, followed by the FA Cup semi-final between Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. Joe Hart and Steph Houghton are with us. Eddie Howe was back in the dugout at St James's Park. His Newcastle side looking to stay on course for a top 5 finish against Ipswich, who knew anything but a win would see their relegation confirmed. Commentary from Steve Bauer.
It's great to see you back on Match of the Day. What's it been like with everyone welcoming you back? Have you really felt the love today?
Yeah, I've been very much in game mode, so you don't necessarily open yourself up to it, but I'm very aware that people have been very kind and very warm with me, and it's hugely appreciated.
He came back in training the other day and he said he was going to be a bit more quiet and probably not as energetic, and then he'd already stopped training within 30 seconds and was giving him a bit. So, yeah, no, it was great to have him in. As I said, he's a leader. He holds us to with standards, and I thought we did a great job while he was away, because he is a big miss.
Kieran, first of all, I guess you knew it was coming, but the relegation now confirmed. What are your emotions after that?
There's a time to speak on these things today. The mathematical, completion, it doesn't change too much. We've been through the emotions, and we're looking to the future.
How big a boost is this win for the Champions League race? Is it something psychological now to be in third place? It's going to go right down to the wire, I guess.
It will go down to the wire, I think. I think that the important thing today is we bounced back from last week, which was a disappointing defeat. But we've been very consistent, and it's a real good return to a positive result. Now we have 4 huge games.
We're frustrated with the first yellow card, to be honest, and I think it changes the game. Ben's running at the last man. He knocks it past him. Dan Burn sticks his leg and his knee out, and there's probably minimum contact, but there's contact there. I don't think Ben has taken a dive in his life unless someone shows me something from his previous career. I don't think he's got it in him. So, yeah, I think it was an unnecessary yellow card.
So it was goalless when they were reduced to 10, Ipswich. So frustration that they were reduced to 10, and frustration that the first yellow card was for diving.
Yeah, you used the word diving there. I think this is why I really want to go into this. Because Kieran McKenna's just been very clear on how he feels about it, and I want to explain what's gone on here, because diving and yellow cards and simulation, there's so much more to it. At full speed here, Johnson is absolutely flying. He's flying at Dan Burn, he's looking to score a goal, 0-0 like we say, and even in this replay, is there contact? I don't think there is. I really don't think this is a foul. But I want to tell you why Johnson goes over. Once he's in this position, he knocks it around Dan Burn. Dan Burn's the biggest player on the pitch, strongest player on the pitch. That big left leg coming out as Johnson's in full flow. His instinct as a human being when he sees that is to brace for impact. And at this moment, he's hitting that leg. But Dan Burn does so well here, that slight movement just to pull his leg away. But Johnson's already made that commitment in his head. I'm bracing myself for impact. I'm going to minimise the injury here. And down he goes. And then we're going to see it again at a decent speed, and we're going to realise how well the referee does to see this. Now, what I'm saying, that's a definite yellow card, but I think it's important that when you see simulation, you don't think cheat. That's just the speed of the game. But once you're on the yellow card, you can't make this decision. This is such a clear-cut yellow card. And what it does early on in the game, 37th minute, your team are down to 10 men, you're struggling, and you're going to lose the game quite comfortably.
So actually there's quite a subtle difference there. That's a very reasonable explanation of it. Yeah, he did go over without being touched, but there's a reason for it.
Yeah, it's not cheating. He's not looking to cheat the game. There's definitely moments in a football game where you see it and people go down, they roll around, but that was just at full speed, a human instinct to see a block and get yourself out of the way. And Dan Burn does so well to remove that left leg.
Do you agree with it? Because that's annoyingly persuasive, that argument.
Yeah, he's persuaded me all afternoon.
Yeah.
So, I think for me the frustrating thing is his touch is so good to get past Dan Burn. I think if he can actually get on the end of that touch, it's got Livramento coming around the back, and I think then you've probably got more of a chance of getting a penalty in that area with contact. So I understand what Joe's saying, but I think for me, I want players to be able to try and get past these players and create goal-scoring opportunities.
No doubts about the penalty either?
No, we said straight away, as soon as we saw it, and it wasn't given. It was a surprise, if honest. You know, Murphy, great pass from Bruno, and we said penalty straight away. The referee didn't give it.
Again, he's probably thinking, isn't he, Michael Salisbury, whether he's gone down too soon?
Yes, I think so. But then, obviously, VAR comes in. Michael Salisbury's has to take a Ronaldo free kick and check the VAR all at the same time. And then the right decision is made. It's in the box. The contact's there. And Isak steps up and does what he's done all season, scores a huge goal, and that was game over.
It's hard, isn't it, not to feel sorry for the three promoted clubs, because yet again they're going down. Relegation confirmed earlier than ever before with 4 games to go. But the question is, you know, what can promoted clubs do at the moment?
It's hard, chappers, because this is the second season in a row that all 3 promoted teams have been relegated, and this is the first time that these 3 teams being relegated with 4 games to go in the Premier League. So there's just such a big gulf in class, and I think for me Ipswich have really come in this league and gave it a right good go in terms of the players that they've bought. They've had back-to-back promotions, but I think
It's
it all
depressing, isn't it?
It all comes down to that quality. But also we had a conversation before about the tactics. I think we want to play this expansive football, but ultimately that first season's so important just to stay in the league.
It is though, is it? I mean, if our game is built on promotion and relegation, you need things to change. You can't have a closed shop.
Hey, it's tough, and I think a lot of lessons we learned from these 2 seasons, and people are going to have a different mindset coming into the league.
Okay. Now, Brighton were without a win in 5, but taking on a West Ham side who were without a win in their last 6.
I really had the belief and the trust to my team, and therefore, especially the end of the game, they didn't force it. They stick to the game plan. They did the things right. They made good decisions, although it was very hectically and big emotions, but credit to my players.
What was going through your mind when Belieber picked up the ball there?
I think we all had the same feeling. I looked the ball. I was like, the ball is not moving really fast, but then when it hits the net, of course, unbelievable feeling.
West Ham came back into it. When they went ahead, nobody's head drops. There was presumably very much belief that you could find a way back into it.
No, for sure. We always believe in it. Doesn't matter what the minute is, what the score is. In our home pitch with our fans, everything can happen, and we show the character to come back and win the game.
Obviously, we all feel horrible. We had some couple of hours in the changing room, and it just cannot happen. We scored the winning goal, 85 minutes, and at the end, we lose the game. So I know it's Premier League. It can happen everything in any time, but it's not just acceptable for us.
We've been undone from 2 goals from outside the box, from 35 yards. Apart from that, we've created chances ourselves, and we scored 2 good goals. But it's the ability to sustain a Premier League game over 100+ minutes. That's obviously been a challenge for us.
Ipswich lost today, so you know now that you're mathematically safe. That's one consolation, surely.
Well, in the season, we have to acknowledge the season we're having is a bad one. So the fact that we've stayed clear of it all is good, but it's not good enough for us. We're certainly not celebrating that. We want to do better. We have to do better.
Well, you can see in the interviews that they are flat there, and Graham Potter said they've had a bad season, and yet they did get themselves back into this.
Yeah, they really did, I think, especially second half when Graham Potter made the change with Nicholas Fulkrug coming on, and obviously after Fulkrug's comments within the week, question his team's mentality. It was really interesting. I think for me, West Ham struggled to create opportunities in that first half, but Fulkrug coming on allowed them to have a bit of a focal point and allowed Jarrod Bowen, who is without doubt West Ham's best player, a little bit more freedom. And this right-hand side, especially for the first goal to make it 1-1, Bowen crossing in for Kudus, that really set them on the way in this second half. I think for 35 minutes, West Ham were brilliant in terms of intensity, forward runs, forward passes. And this right-hand side, we've seen kind of glimpse of it in the first half, and Wan-Bissaka was at heart of that, but the quality was just lacking. But I think that freedom of Bowen was really important for West Ham in this sense, and also Fulkrug, he was able to hold up the ball, knock the ball down, and allow players to join in advance, and Souček gets a shot away and is a bit unlucky. But this was pressure that West Ham did because of the half-time change and the system change, and Bowen was at heart of it, and this is just Bowen in a nutshell. Wanting to get on the ball, wanting to drive his team forward, but this is a world-class cross. There's no defender stopping that, and if you want one person on the end of it from West Ham United's point of view, it's Thomas Souček, and it's similar to what he did last week as well.
And so you're thinking, all right, 2-1 up, 6 or 7 minutes to go, we're back in it, all good, and then?
And then I think the last 10 minutes, chappers, the Fulkrug and talking about mentality and trying to stay in, especially away from home. West Ham have struggled to get a point away from home when they've conceded. And look at this. This is 11 players behind the ball, and this is like what we're probably used to seeing West Ham do in terms of in these positions. You've got 11 players behind the ball trying to make it compact, but you've got your best player there trying to do so much defensive work, and it opens up gaps for other players. And this is a great cross-field ball, a great header across, and Mitoma's on the back shoulder of Kilman. But it's so interesting that Kilman kind of gets underneath the ball, because I think he's trying to read it for the cut back to Dunk, and I think that's poor from West Ham United's point of view. But this is them inviting pressure because they're getting deeper and deeper. And in this picture here, chappers, I think they had an outlet, they had Fulkrug, but look at where he is. He's around the referee. There's 10 players in that box. It's so short, it's so compact, it's condensed. And when you're in that low block, you either have to really just kind of take hold of your space, or you've got to start pressing at some point. And Bourne here, he finds himself in a probably unfamiliar position, and what he wants to do is defend for his team. He kicks it out for a corner, but the worrying thing here for me is the mentality and the leadership and the organisation, and players are not even looking at the ball when Brighton take this short corner. And I think for me, not really doing anything, not really pressing, not really getting organised when they come out. And Carlos Baleba had a great game. Normally plays in midfield, but playing at centre-half today, played really well against the likes of Bourne, and kudos. But what an absolutely great strike from a centre-half / midfielder.
He had so much time and space. The finish is great. Don't look at me like that. I know you do. I know you do. All I would ask is, it's never a great look, I suppose, if your goalkeeper doesn't dive.
No.
However good the goal, however good
no,
the
it's
strike.
not. And you know, Graham Potter's alluded to it. That's a long way out. But as Steph just excellently explained there, West Ham players are, yes, they are back in numbers, but they are not doing a job. And there's 3 people in the line of Alphonse Areola there, making it difficult for him to react. But we cannot get away. That is a superb finish.
Starts off like 2 yards outside the post.
2-3 yards outside the post. And once Areola gets a sight on it, it's already in that far corner, and he's left rooted, and it's not.
So he's got no chance.
West Ham. He's got a chance. I'm not making excuses. I'm giving you a reason of why he's ended up rooted.
As far as Brighton are concerned, just very quickly, they have been on this run of 6 matches in all competitions without a win. They needed that just for a bit of confidence, and they're still in a race for a Europa League or Conference League place.
Yeah, I think we're predicting there's potentially 8 places up for grabs in terms of European football. So for Brighton's confidence going into this last push in the season, it's great for them, especially with 1 win in the last 6 games.
More goalkeeping stuff to come, though, isn't there?
There certainly is.
Next, Chelsea in the running for the Champions League spots at home to Everton. Conor McNamara, watch this one.
First half, it felt you were very dominant, a lot of possession, a lot of territory. Were you disappointed that you hadn't scored more than 1 goal in that first half?
It already happened many times this season that we are not able to score more goals and to kill the game. But second half, I think we drop a little bit, but overall, I think we defend quite well. We create some chances, so overall, I think we deserve to win the game.
We were fortunate, maybe fortunate only to go 1-0 down at half-time, but we'd stuck at it and grew into the game as it went on, and I thought we played really well in the second half. A bit unlucky not to get it, just probably lacking the quality to try and get a finish at the end of some of our play.
The goal that decided the game was very well taken from Nico Jackson. I believe that's the first time he scored in the Premier League from outside the penalty area.
I mean, maybe in the Premier League, but I see him doing loads in training, so I'm not surprised, you know. So yeah, I'm really happy for him.
The fact their goalkeeper Robert Sanchez gets named Player of the Match tells its own story, I guess.
Yeah, I thought their goalkeeper made a really good save from Dwight. I've had a first look and I just wondered if the other corner was open, so maybe the boys can have a look at it in the studio and see what they think.
We'll get on to that in a little while, what the studio think. But what the studio thought, first of all, starting with you, Joe, is that Everton tried something a little bit different.
Yeah, they looked like they were out for trying a little bit new today, a little bit more expansive, which is easier said than done, and as that proves in the first 20 minutes. Ball into Mikalenko here. We've seen many times an Everton team flip it into the corner and play for possession, play for territory, sorry. But instead, he decides to go into Njai. He's got options to go back, but if you're going to play, you need an option and then another option. You need to be playing chess. The whole team needs to be on board with it. And once he decides to go into him, Garner has to make himself available. And Chelsea realised they're starting to play a little bit of football today, but there's only one option. So once Caicedo and an impressive press means that he can't get that pass off, they can smother him turn it over, and now Everton are far more open than they have been all season. They're able to get it into Jackson and create their first chance of the afternoon. And this was a little pattern in the first probably 25 minutes. Not seeing that too much from Everton. The 1-2, Palmer, intelligent pressing, cutting the lines. And then once we turn here and he wants to get it into Beto, Chelsea are very aware that once we do go into Beto, Njai is the only option. Again, intelligent, able to turn the ball over, and straight away Chelsea are on the attack. Into Jackson, turn. Doesn't quite get his shot off, but they're looking dangerous. That's 2 warning shots in the first couple of minutes.
I think as well, this is something that Chelsea have definitely worked on in the week. I think that press initially, but when Beto's receiving the ball, it's about aggressive pressure, but also Jackson's positioning. I think when you're so expansive and you play out, that in position's important and allows you to get on the half turn, allows you to have a little bit more breathing space to get your shot away. And from this angle here, you see Chalobah getting really aggressive, but the position of Enzo, it's not just about admiring your pass, it's about getting back, it's about helping your defenders, but also it blocks a passing lane there. And once they win the ball back, it's so simple just to pass it to Jackson's feet. But from here, it's a great finish for someone that's been out injured for a while. And you can see from Jordan Pickford's reaction, he's not very happy with how it's gone.
Because every time it's played into someone's feet, you can't just have the one option.
No, you really can't. I think with Beto, obviously his strength is holding the ball up, but unless you've got someone to pass to, and Chelsea had numbers in that midfield area, so they were able to block off people that you were trying to support. And I think, for me, Chelsea were really good at that today.
On to our next goalkeeping masterclass. Yeah. There are often 2 sides, aren't there, to Robert Sanchez, and we kind of saw it again today.
Yeah, and he's proven it through the season, and there's question marks around him. There's no doubt about that. And a lot of that is embodied in this game today. When you've got a top-end goalkeeper, you need someone who's going to keep the drama to a minimum. And Robert Sanchez, this is not the first time we've seen it in the season, and it's not the only time we'll see it in the game. Getting involved, making late decisions, his defender's not quite knowing what he's doing. He manages to get the ball there, but could have easily given away a penalty. Second half, ball spoons up. Chelsea players are thinking, is Robert coming? Is he going to catch it? What's he going to do? And that's really difficult in a young team, because you need that experienced goalkeeper who's going to keep the calmness. But there's a reason that Robert Sanchez plays for Chelsea, and there's a reason that he's in the Premier League, because he's an incredible saver of a football. And I think this is a great example of it. And he wins man of the match today, because this was the first real shot in anger that Everton had. And that is he's so athletic, so athletic, so strong. That's such a sharp save. And as we get into the 87th minute, his team are winning 1-0, trying to get into the Champions League. His athleticism there is emphasised. Many goalkeepers aren't even able to turn and make that save, let alone the spring. It probably looks a bit over the top, but that's the brilliance of him, and that's his superpower, his athleticism. And look, credit where it's due, he won his team the points today.
I'm not sure Dwight McNeil could have gone the other way, could he? As David Moyes
Would have been a bit of a worldie if he could, I think.
Very, very simply, if you've got a goalkeeper who's a great shot stopper like that, but looks a bit wobbly when coming for the ball, can you as a centre-half try and protect your goalkeeper in some way, as in take more charge of certain parts of the box?
Yeah, I think for me, I think it's about just keeping things simple and allowing that kind of confidence and knowing what your goalkeeper's good at. And I think for someone that's really good at taking crosses, it's allowing him to be able to do that. And obviously, for me, it's about communication and making sure that he's mentally kind of switched on as much as possible.
The 2 changes at half time was to give different things for the team. I think we gave more 1v1 with Adam on the right hand side, and of course a bit more dynamic with Lukic there, with Wilson inside in the pocket too. And second half we dominated from the first minute till the last minute. We did create chances, crossbar ball too, and all that stuff. I think clear, we deserve the 3 points.
It's a cruel game. Last week we scored a late goal, this week we conceded a late goal. Yeah, it's obviously a difficult one to take. Always is, but ultimately we need to keep going, keep trying to improve, and take what was good from that game and try and use it in the next game.
Yeah, I'm really delighted with the goal, and obviously the 3 points is the most important. It's really exciting to be a part of this team. I knew from the first day I came in, it's a really exciting team, and to be a part of it, it's like a family in there. So yeah, it's definitely an exciting journey, and we want to keep going for sure.
Of course, we are playing final after final, and after final is going to be like that every single week from now. And the importance of these 3 points, they are really big for us. They are massive. I cannot hide that. Now we have to prepare well another final against Villa.
Every game is a big game for them between now and the end of the season. But as Michael Silva said at the start of that little run of interviews, the substitutions made a difference, made them more dynamic.
Yeah, he's given himself a little pat on the back there, hasn't he? But he was right, you know, fair play. As a manager, didn't start the two players that really impacted the game, but they came on and changed it. Smith Rowe and Traore coming on. This is late on. This is an absolutely beautiful touch. This is what we know he's capable of in flashes. He's not quite asserted his authority on the team yet, but that was a really good goal. Traore, we know what he's got. He's got the pace and the power, and he's shown this season he's more than willing to come in on that left foot, keep his left back guessing, and beautiful link up between the two here, driving inside. It's a really smart shot and a smart save by Ramsdale, probably thinking he's earned his team a point. Traore not necessarily involved in this as you would expect him to be, but there he is. That's where you expect him to be, on that right-hand side. Beautifully weighted cross, and that's such a good header from Ryan Sessegnon. And they fully deserved that win. They pushed so hard towards the end of the game, and that's massive for Marco Silva.
It is. Now, Wolves were going for their 6th win on the trot against the Leicester side, starting to say their goodbyes to Jamie Vardy. Alistair Mann was at Molineux.
There's not many points earlier this season that was between us, but we know that if we continue to play as well as we have done the last games, we can beat everyone at this moment.
That wasn't good enough from our side. I don't talk football-wise, but I talk intensity, duels, especially in the first half. Second half, okay, yes, we concede 2 on the break, but we were better at those things that we didn't do in the first half. But no, today wasn't good enough from our side.
When you came here, you said that it was an ambition to be a Premier League manager. When you hear your name being cheered by 30,000 people, have you exceeded the expectations you had for this job?
Very proud of my team, very proud of our supporters. This is a connection since the first game. Of course, before I had this experience in other clubs, but not like this.
I always say when I use the shirt, I'm so happy on the pitch to play for this team, to play for my teammates. Everyone knows that. I think sometimes my emotion is too much because I really love to be here. But yeah, of course, the most important is help the team.
Well, so much speculation about him this week. It's building ahead of a summer transfer window. He was brilliant today, wasn't he? I mean, he just did everything for them.
I think he showed today why so many people are talking about him and why everybody probably does want him in the summer transfer window. But I think for this period at Wolves, today he was absolutely everywhere. I think he showed so many different sides to his game. He's got such a large skill set. I mean, dribbling through here, the confidence to take the shot, yeah, it doesn't go on target, but that didn't stop him having the influence on the game and being Wolves' talisman. I think for me, he's not happy with just giving it to Aït-Nouri. He wants to get in the box, he wants to score, and this finish, you don't underestimate this finish, to allow it to come across his body and place it in the bottom corner with his right foot. But also, chappers, in the second half, you see him on the left wing here, and this pass is absolutely perfect for Strand Larsen to take a touch, to finish. And I think for me, what was really impressive is that he showed different varieties and he was able to speed the game up, he was able to slow it down, and here he gets caught in a 1v1 situation. A great run, a great finish, and I think for me, Wolves, if he does move in the summer, we'll miss him, but at this moment in time, he's really enjoying his football.
The temptation, isn't there, is to then go, well, what's his best position? But then if you're a modern attacker, maybe you're expected to do a little bit of everything. I don't know.
I think as a manager, you would absolutely love that, the ability to play in different positions, but also have an influence on the game and have the returns that he's had today has been really impressive.
It's a brilliant connection, isn't it, that Vitor Pereira has built up just within the club already, and the difference he has made. You look at this, he took over, Wolves were 5 points behind Leicester and in that relegation zone just before Christmas. Now there's a gap of 23 between the two, but the connection is so evident, isn't it?
Yeah, and of all the managers who've come in mid-season, he's been the best, simple as that. They've been absolutely excellent. They've been building, they've not come in, they didn't fly out the traps, but they've just built slowly, and the confidence they're in. Here in Strand Larsen interview there, Cunningham with the smile on his face, and the way that they're playing, they feel like when they get themselves in a position in a game now, they're going to win it.
Right, let's just show you the Premier League table. Newcastle and Chelsea improved their chance of Champions League football today. Fulham and Brighton also boosted their dreams of reaching Europe next season. Confirmation of Ipswich's return to the Championship means all 3 relegation places have been decided in record time. And as we've been discussing, also the second successive season that all 3 promoted sides make an immediate return to the second tier.
ご視聴いただきありがとうございます。感想をコメントで聞かせてください。また、最後まで見ていただいた方は、 チャンネル登録といいねを押して教えていただけると嬉しいです。動画作りの励みになりますので、ぜひよろしくお願いいたします。これからもプレラボをよろしくお願いします。